Well, it was good to get the win at Austin Peay the other night, and really not trying to treat it as like we talked about 3 games in a row on the road. With just the next game, and that's Belmont on Thursday, and that's our focus, and that's what we're trying to get prepared for. Great team, great program. It's going to be a great opportunity and a great test for our team. So we're looking forward to it, and we've got to get a couple more good days of work in to be ready.
You know, with the win over there, Osby had some tribulation there. Cats had, made the comeback. Talk about overcoming all that and winning that basketball game that you guys did.
Well, we were up 17 in the first half, and really when you go down and break down the tape, we got in some foul trouble late in the first half, and that really hurt us. We turned it over once or twice, some poor turnovers, and we missed a couple layups, and then we didn't do a great job in transition defense, and then we had 3 really bad fouls, gave them 6 points, and to their credit, they were able to get to the lead back probably where they felt good, going to halftime, and I was a little bit disappointed because I was hoping we could be 12 or 14 to withstand that early run that you knew they were probably going to get, but showed a lot about our kids to be up 17, be down 3, and be able to figure out a way to win.
And then after what happened at SIU, to have you guys do it that way at Austin Peay, is that the step forward that you did?
Yeah, I think so, and but we got to keep building. There's so much left in the season. We've got 7 games left. We've got a tough test this week at Belmont, so it's just one game at a time, but we got to keep getting better. The teams that are keep improving are the teams that are going to keep winning games, and so we've got to keep preparing for other teams. We've got to keep getting ourselves better, and we've really got to get better on the defensive end.
When you look at Belmont, first in the East, first in the West. For us, we're going to build it up that way. You guys might not do it the same, but that's the parameters with the game.
Yeah, I haven't even talked to the guys about Belmont too much yet. A little bit. We did a little bit of stuff yesterday in practice, but our stuff, but just with an emphasis on maybe how they play, and we'll go over them a little bit more today. The way we've kind of been doing it right now is because we're so new. I really show them almost 2 days of tape from the last game. So today we'll actually finish up P, and then we'll get out and talk about Belmont after that, and then we'll get on the floor and start preparing for them. But Belmont, leads the East. We're first in the West, but there's 7 games left in conference. 6 for them, 7 for us. So it's just you play the next game. You're trying to win the next game in conference. But it's a big game, because it's a big game because it's the next game.
Is Belmont doing anything differently this year?
Just doing what they do. Shooting the ball, making threes, playing extremely hard, well coached. They're good. They're really good. They've had some great wins. Indiana State, Middle Tennessee State, North Carolina. They're 8-2 in conference. They played a demanding non-conference schedule, so they got 3 really good seniors, and Windler, Jenkins, and Mann's been terrific. He's had a terrific career there. So, and then they got 2 really tough guards in Chamberlain and Bradshaw. So none too much different. A lot of ball screens, a lot of threes, a lot of not dribble drive, but a lot of dribble penetration that you got to be able to keep your man in front of you. And then defensively, they are really, really tough.
Is this a team more than any in the league that you've really got to be disciplined defensively on the perimeter?
Yeah, similar to East Kentucky. A lot of the rules that apply to East Kentucky apply to Belmont, but you have to be disciplined. If you're not disciplined against Belmont, they'll really expose you. So we'll talk about discipline the next couple days. We'll talk about discipline closeouts, discipline on your ball pressure, discipline on how we want to help in the gaps, and then discipline in not having bad fouls and putting them on the free throw line. But discipline is a huge word on both ends of the floor against them.
Could you duplicate what they do in practice, though?
You can a little bit from the standpoint that we ball screen a lot. We try to spread the floor for Cam and some 4-out, 1-in ball screen stuff, and so we can a little bit. But they are very, very efficient. They shoot the ball so well, and they're really unselfish. So it's always going to be hard to totally simulate. It's like if you're playing one of Mike Anderson's or Nolan Richardson's Arkansas, Missouri teams back, can you simulate their pressure, or Patino's pressure back when I was in college when he was at Kentucky? Can you simulate that pressure? It's hard to do that. You just go over your principles for the next couple of days and really get them honed in on the personnel and how we want to guard each guy.
You guys feel like you have an advantage in the post with Jarvis and Jonathan?
Yeah, advantage. But if you know the Jenkins, I mean they'll fight in there. Jenkins, Windler, those guys fight. They double the post. They'll double it with the guard some. They'll double it big to big. So they're going to keep you off balance and guessing on how the double is going to come. So probably have an advantage when you look at numbers, rebounding, being able to score around the basket, and hopefully that'll be a big key for us that we can win the rebounding war.
I don't know if people expected Belmont when they came in last year to do what they did conference-wide. Did you kind of expect them to be as good as they were last year and as they are now? And how are they?
Yeah, Belmont's always going to be good. They're always going to be one of the top teams in the league. I mean, we were familiar with Karan Johnson last year. We recruited him, the 2 point guards that, we'd spent the most time with that year was Karan and Isaiah. And Karan committed to them in the summer, and then we got Isaiah in the fall. So worked out for both schools really well. But, Ian Clark, when you're bringing back 2 guards like they had, you knew they were going to be really good. And then Coach Bird is, probably the best coach in the league, the elder statesman. And you look at his coaching career, so they're going to be good. And then this year, they still have 3 really good seniors. And, man, Windler sat out. And Jenkins, those guys have won games. And then Chamberlain and Bradshaw have really stepped up. And I really think they've made the next step to be a really good backcourt down the road, really for the next 3 years.
And have they helped the perception of the league maybe? You look at Bragatage, they would get a 14, you guys would get about the same thing. So have they helped the perception of the league?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know what our league, they definitely have helped the perception of the league. You bring in a program like that to the league that's had their success in their old league, that's had their success beating teams outside of our league, it's definitely without question helped the league. But on the flip side is what our league's been able to do over the last 5 years, I think has really showcased our league, and now our league has to really continue to get that out and continue to get more games on CBS Sports, more games on ESPN, more national coverage for our programs.
Windler likes to step out and shoot a little bit from the perimeter. Are Jarvis and Jonathan a little better at being able to defend that in a man-to-man situation than some of the bigs you've had in the past?
I don't know. Ed was really good Ed was really good. We guarded Belmont well, I think, if you watch both games from last year. We had him in, I don't know, the score was about 4 minutes to go. Here, we guarded them pretty well, I thought. And then we turned it over a lot, and then they're so efficient, and they can make shots so fast that, Clark's 3, Mann's 3, and the next guy's 3. Jonathan and Jarvis are going to have to be locked in on the defensive end to get out there and guard him. Windler loves to, play on the perimeter. He can score in the post some, but you look 2/3, 3/4 of his shots in conference are from the 3. So, we've had guys, Ivan Aska, Ed Daniel, those guys could hedge and recover. I mean, coaches would text me after games and say better than anybody they've ever seen, so. That Jarvis and Jonathan are new, and that's the thing. It's their first time playing Belmont, so we've got to be real detailed and not too complicated in what we do, so they're not thinking too much.
It's one of the few games where depth-wise, I mean, they only play 3 guys 30 minutes or more. I don't know if you'll have an advantage, but you won't be at a disadvantage at all.
Well, similar when you look at it. They play 6 guys, I think, the bulk of their minutes. We probably play 6 guys the bulk of our minutes, and then they can go with a 7th guy at times. They can go with an 8th guy at times, 9th guy. Likewise, we can when, CJ, Rambo, Zay Henderson. So, I don't think that's advantage, disadvantage either way. You just hope your best guys and your main guys stay out of foul trouble.
Would it be good to play them twice? Would it be good to play them twice? You only get to play them once. Would be a nice thing to, regardless of what happens.
In the championship, yeah. It'd be great. It'd be great.
But I mean, during the regular season, it would be nice to have a home and home.
I like the way it's set up right now. The only thing, the West and East, and I keep saying it, that I don't understand is that we don't have champions. We have divisions, but we don't have champions of our divisions. That I wish the league would really look into that, because all the other leagues do that have divisions. But I think it's hard to play a 22 league game schedule for everybody in our league has advantages and disadvantages to why they want to play 22 games, and for us, why we would want to play 16 games, because we're trying like heck to get into an ESPN tournament if we can. And if we could do that, that's great for not only our program, but it's great for our league. We want to play a couple good non-conference games. When you get to 22 games, and you still have to play money games, your games are limited to what you can do outside of conference. So, hopefully we just play them once in the regular season, and we always play them second. If we play them a second time, hopefully it's for a conference championship.
For the two players that were on the team last year, that played in that championship game last year, how much do you think they've been replaying last year's game in their minds the past couple of days?
There's only two of them. Jeffrey Moss probably. Johnson hit the shot on him, so he's probably thinking about it. I looked out here the other day, and yesterday morning, and he was in here shooting, so he's probably locked in and focused. But that game is as much as is, that game. I mean, it should haunt me a lot more than it haunts those kids. I didn't do a good enough job the last couple minutes, but really, that game's over with, though. That game's over with. Like my wife says, that you got to move on, man. So, we blew it. We had opportunities. Credit Belmont. They finished the game, and we didn't.
Hey, Coach, Isaiah was named to the D-League All-Star team today, Covington also.
Yeah, that's great. I was texting with Isaiah the other day. He always watches our games when they're on TV, and he'll text me stuff and pictures during the game, like I'm looking at my phone at halftime. But he said he was going to come back here next weekend, but he wasn't sure because he thought he may get the D-League All-Star bid. So terrific for him. He's got a bright future, and he's handled all this well up and down, within the league. I think he's back up right now, actually, because he's doing his rehab in Houston, trying to get his hamstring back 100%. But has been phenomenal in the D-League, and he'll get his chance. Whether it's this year at the end of the year or next year, he'll get his chances. And that's the great thing. The Rockets gave him a 3-year commitment. So that's the great thing. And he's handled all the up, down, up, down. I think he's handled it really well.
All right, any others?
One more.
Yeah.
Cam and Jarvis, another OVC week honor. Just kind of talk about their play during conference and how.
Well, they've grown up a lot. And the biggest thing I was happy about, and even not their performance, I didn't realize Jarvis had 28 and 14 until I really looked at the stats. I was more impressed that Jarvis stayed in the moment, didn't get frustrated. Edwards really got frustrated. He didn't get frustrated, P. And we lost it was a 20-point swing in the game, and he was able to keep his composure. Cam was able to go get 12 assists. He was joking me on the bench about putting him back in. One of the games he had 9 assists. I said, no, get 10 assists in a big game. I didn't even know he had 12 assists. Then you look, he had 12 assists. So they've grown up a lot. They're doing a good job, but they got to continue to stay humble, and they got to be hungry, and they want to be coached right now more than they've ever wanted to be coached. Because the teams that get better right now, the team's going to keep winning. You can't be content right now.